Right. Okay, it's we're live. Welcome, welcome. Here to this hangout today. My name's Terry Nicholson, and really exciting topic today. I'm really thrilled. It's very be diving into integrating activism and your online business, and just really diving into, like, lots of people don't think of themselves as activists, and I'm just going to share some things that might change your mind about that. A couple of reasons why it's just so crucial and so beneficial, and the three types of activism, and sharing my story along the way. But before I dive into that, I want to introduce our panel, because this is part of our team and part of our tribe. We get together. We have a private Facebook group. We're working online for ourselves, but not by ourselves. So we really have this incredible sense of community here, support, and so we do a half-hour live training first, which is what we're going to be doing now, and then we actually shut the doors down and mastermind, share what's working for each other, not, and just really support each other like that. So I'll let you know how you can connect at the end if you feel to, but we'll get straight into the content here. So I just want to go along the panel. If you can just introduce yourself, just say, your name with a little something else in here, because today's topic is around activism and around caring deeply about the world. So I'd love it if you can just share one thing that you really care deeply about, aside from your online work or your online business as such, or it might include the women on the panel. One thing that you're passionate and that you care about in the world. So maybe over to you, Carol.
Hi, here. I'm from upstate New York, and I'm at the other end of the house from Ellie, who will be introducing herself shortly. I am very passionate about one of the topics that you are also, Terry, and that is fracking. As a matter of fact, I went to a meeting this last week about trying to stop a pipeline from going through our county, and have called the governor today to let him know how I feel about that. So that also is a subject that's very dear to my heart.
Awesome. And over to you, Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I live in California, and I'm very passionate about animals because I have 6 of them, 4 cats and 2 dogs, so I'm very passionate about that. And I just love this group. So thanks. I can't wait for your talk.
Ellie, sorry.
I'm at the ends of the house from Carol. And I'm thinking, well, what am I passionate about? One thing. Oh my God, I'm passionate about everything. But if I'm involved in it, so I understand, the environmental stuff people are talking about and the animal stuff. But my big driving passion is helping people step into who they really are. That's my big passion. Big.
And Sydney, I don't know if you can talk. Your camera's off.
She's
might just be listening. Yeah, she's often on the road at this time of the day. Well, just so beautiful to hear those three things. And to me, that's all you're all activists in those passions. Just when people saw activism as just marching down the street or protesting, blockading in front of something, very sort of face kind of way. And so a bit further along, I really want to dive into these 3 types of activism. When I first heard these, I was like, it just helps so much to realize that we are all activists in different ways, and it takes many different forms, but to actually kind of own that is really powerful, and it will give you an inner power, I believe, an inner motivation. But I'll dive into more of it in a bit, and just share some of my story. But I do believe that anyone who cares about anything is an activist, really. If you're willing to take some action towards what you care about, even if it's just a conversation with someone in the street about that thing just a stranger at the bus stop. You know, you're being an activist in that moment of having those conversations, and then there's a whole spectrum of different types. But so I'm a mum of 3 boys, live with my husband on 15 acres near the rainforest, and so I grew up the end of the same dirt road actually where we live, but right up the end, my parents moved onto that land as part of that sort of back to the land in the 70s, and with the aim of being sustainable and having a low ecological footprint. So they built a little hut there. I grew up with a dirt floor, and it wasn't long after they arrived that they found out that the rainforest, which this road ends in an incredible rainforest, a horseshoe valley, intact virgin rainforest, and they found out that was to be logged, to be clear felled. And so that sparked them moving into being activists for the rainforest. And I won't tell the whole story, but it culminated in a non-violent direct action, a protest where people came and camped on our land, my family's land at the end of the valley, and did stand in front of bulldozers, did come together as a community and force the political decision to actually halt that logging. And so for me, I got to grow up knowing that people can make a difference. People can stand up for what really matters. And I got to look out at that amazing rainforest every day that I feel so connected to. It's so a deep sense of belonging for me. And so that has carried forth through my whole life, this sense of being an activist, really, for the earth, and for knowing that people can stand up against things in a peaceful, non-violent, direct action way and actually make a difference. So that's given me an incredible sense of right through my life, knowing that you don't just have to settle and think, oh no, I can't make a difference. And I'm so grateful not only for the forest being there, for all those people who came together, but also for that deep sense of knowing inside me that I can actually make a difference. So when I was a teenager, so as growing up, I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to be an activist when I grow up, and I was really focused on rainforest because that was just my passion. As I went to a meeting with my parents around forest issues, a NEFA meeting in the town nearby, and there was at that point my teeth were going a bit all wonky, and I was going to get braces, and it was going to cost $2,000 to get these braces. And I remember going to this meeting and someone saying, look, we've got about 10 years to save these native forests. They're just on track to destruction. And as a 13-year-old, I remember just thinking, what am I doing? What are we doing spending $2,000 on these braces? I should give that money to NEFA and help with these forests. My parents, I ended up getting the braces, and I am glad, because I would have been very self-conscious about smiling because they really were getting all wonky. But that just really stood out to me at this moment as this young person, just so strongly wanting to make a difference. And although later, so I went to South America as an exchange student, and then went back there, spent more time, trained as a naturopath and a herbalist, as a healer, and found my activist path through my healing work. So I ran a practice, or still run a practice, for the last almost 15 years, doing healing work, and really felt that channeling through the range of stuff, it was more working with natural medicine, working with helping people. And that itself was my form of activism, of actually making a difference in the world. Fast forward a few years, I've had my 3 kids, and I'm doing more of my music stuff, and really turned to the internet to share my music and my form of my activism. So, just through music, through songs, being able to make a difference in people's lives and shift the way they might see the world and the way they might connect with themselves each other and with the earth. And I really had an amazing, successful launch of my album, and I won't go into the story of that, but that really showed me the power of the internet, and you know, topping the Amazon charts in one day and bringing in over $9,000 in album sales in that one day, and seeing my music go around the world while bringing in an income to my family. Just so powerful and beautiful. And then feeling like, with parenting at home, dropping back from my healing work and really stepping into my online work as a way of not only making an impact on my family, but continuing my activist work. And after my music thing, I'm passionate about my music thing, and I still do. But I remember this point just feeling, but that's not my core passion. That's one of my ways of expressing myself and doing my activist work. But with fracking, that's just such a major issue for us here. All these different parts of things that I'm passionate about and feel like I have a voice and I can make a difference connecting with people. And that's where blogging kind of just reared its head as a vehicle for me to be able to share these different facets and not necessarily like niche myself down just to my music, say. And so I just wanted to share that story, a few stories of my life of how activist thread has been woven in, and where I've come to this point of the online space. And so I'm going to share, after I share the 3 types of activism, I'm going to dive into sort of how I am sort of addressing those or working with those in my online work with specific examples, and then dive into the 2 key things I believe bring so much benefit to your online business through sort of embracing yourself as an activist as such. Feel free to jump in with any questions or anything, okay, panel? But I'll just keep rolling. All right, so the 3 types of activism, and this comes from a book. I'm going to show it to you because it's one of my absolute favourites in the world, Coming Back to Life by Joanna Macy. She's a deep ecologist and systems theorist and an amazing scholar. She's in her 80s, and I had the pleasure of doing a 30-day retreat with her. And so she talks about these 3 types of activism. The first one calls it like holding actions in defence of life on Earth. So these are like blockades, like those non-violent direct actions to slow down destruction of a rainforest, or where they're wanting to put a gas well in, or walking in the streets, or campaigning for law changes, writing letters, providing shelter to homeless people. It's the front line kind of more direct acts for change for a healthy world. Now the second is like analysing the structural causes and creating alternatives to the situation we're in terms of major global issues. So this is more around education, around creating new sources of wealth, around recycling, community-based gardens, local food production, electronic communications, so we're not sort of just able to communicate in an effective way. So just a few examples, there's so many more, but can you see that's just a movement towards creative alternatives to the sort of growth machine, industrialized system that we've been running in. And then the third one is more a shift of perceptions and values, and really shifting the way what we valuing the earth rather than just consumption, how we parent and bring up our kids in terms of their emotional intelligence and being able to communicate well with each other. It just brings so much more peace, just and able to make different decisions as they get older. Music and arts, and a few of the examples, and understanding self-empowerment and how that then ripples out through the world as well. So can you see the distinction between those three? And pretty much we're all doing some of them. Or maybe we might go, yeah, I really am, you know, maybe I really am an active recycler, or I'm an active, or with my, I'm really involved in the fracking meetings, or might be different areas to say, yes, I'm involved as an activist in those areas. So what I just found myself relaxing inside when I thought about that, because I could go, wow, when I'm parenting, I really am being an activist. I'm making a difference in the world. I'm not just taking a back seat and letting things roll on. Three parts need to work together for a transition or a movement towards a more healthy world. So does that all make sense? If you can nod your head, ladies.
Yes, it does.
So the way that I am integrating this into my online business, I just want to go through each of those steps. As a blogger, using a blog to share my message, and using the social media and video marketing, I feel like I'm actually able to do all of those, go through all of those different types within my blog. And it's something that I invite you to consider, like what you're blogging about, what you're sharing in your online business, where you could actually bring more of what you care about into that and help spread a message that you think is really important. And it's a way that you can do that. So say with the first one, with the slowing destruction, or more like Carol was talking about the fracking. We were involved in a blockade last year to prevent a gas mine from being started just only a few kilometres from my home, and they wanted to roll out hundreds of gas wells which would end up contaminating our water, etc. And so I was out there, and I'd be taking videos of what was going on, and videos of myself, and posting them online. I had people coming up to me saying, I'm only here because I saw your video. I saw you being real. I saw your passion. I saw that how important it is that we all stand up and stand up for what really matters here. and I feel like I know you. Seeing your video, I feel like I know you. So these are complete strangers coming up to me. It happened a few times, just saying, thank you for sharing your message. I'm here because I saw your video. And I just feel like that is so powerful. The skills that I've been learning within the online sphere and online business transfer. They help my activism, helps my business. Is that, how powerful is that to put out a video and have more people up in the front line at that blockade? And we won, actually. The same thing happened. 3,000 people were able to have the government suspend the license. We've still got a lot of work to do, but it was good news. Now the second, with new innovations, this is a really key. Having an online business is stepping into a different paradigm, a different way of working. So many people feel stuck in a job, feel stuck in a grind, feel stuck doing something they don't like, feel constantly stressed financially, or just that they're dull inside, not doing what they're passionate about. And to me, this piece of working, using a system that does stuff and allows me and us to share what we're passionate about while making an income, it's an alternative structure to the normal get a job kind of thing. And so much stress and relationship breakdowns, are caused by financial stress, and so many poor decisions around the earth and around consumption are made through not having enough money. So I mean, I'm not talking about the big big poverty stuff right in this moment. Right, people who will, when they go to buy food, want to buy organic local food, but end up going and buying really cheap imported processed stuff that's travelled thousands of kilometres around the world because it's a bit cheaper. All those people doing that, just to be able to shift people's income by enough to make a difference in that moment would have a real impact. That's just one example. There's so many, but that in itself, shifting people's financial situation, creating financial independence, I just think so powerful, because it frees up your freedom, it frees up your life, frees up your sense of actually being able to contribute and be part of a healthy world rather than just surviving and getting by. I think regardless of all the decisions that differently you might make, bringing in a different income in a different way, to have your life back creates so many positive ripples around the world. I think that's an act of activism. Take charge of your own life and say, hey, there must be a different way. There must be a different way to create an income while making a difference in the world, while touching lives. That just brings me so much energy and power. That's, to me, it's everything, to be able to touch people's lives, make a difference, and be able to live my passion, making an income for my family. So that that really speaks to that second type of activism to me. Now the third is that shift in thinking and shift in values. And a lot of what we do here in this group and in this online space is around personal development. I mean, it does take a kind of courage and vision to really go for your dreams, to really step it up and think, I really am going to live in a different way, and I'm going to model this for my kids. I'm going to model being someone who really does live their dreams, live their passion. And to me, that just passes on to our kids. So, you know, I do that through personal development and personal growth stuff that I do internally. So in this online space, what I share on my blog, the parenting stuff that I share on my blog. So there's ways that I bring in this shift of values in terms of the relationship with the earth that I blog about, so that I'm helping people who come to my blog potentially shift their way of thinking, or just open up to ways of thinking, or just validate what they're already doing and support them. So you know, that all of that makes a difference. And you never know with this online space. It's actually quite strange, because I mean, you get comments on your blog and on your Facebook posts and on your videos. You get some feedback, but there's always, for, you know, I don't know what the stats are generally, Ellie, generally, you know, there's, for 3 people who comment, there's going to be another 20 plus who are watching who don't comment. So you're always making more of a difference than you realise.
More than that.
More than that. Like,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy numbers. It's ridiculous. So it's just a very few.
I just did a video yesterday where I noticed that there'd been 95 views on the video, but there was only 1 comment. So that's a classic kind of, a few more likes, but just at that point, that's how many. So it's that I'd already, you know, would have touched those people's lives in. They might have taken something away from that video that made a difference in their life. But it doesn't necessarily, I don't necessarily know that from their comments. So I think that's one of the powerful things about this online space. You're actually touching more people than you may give yourself credit for. So I hope there's a few examples that just shared how we can touch those different types of activism in our online work. And so I want to now go to the 2 reasons I see that blogging is so, or sorry, not blogging, but embracing this sort of identity as an activist is so powerful and important and beneficial to your online work. The first is that when you're connected with a deeper sense of caring for the world and a deep sense of wanting to make a difference, that you just feel this energy bubble up inside. The motivation, the drive to keep going even when you come across obstacles, it's just unsquashable. It keeps you going. So that, knowing your deep, like we have our deep, our whys in terms of, we'll often talk about that, identifying, why we might be wanting to make a certain amount of income, then what's underneath that in terms of supporting our family, and then peace of mind, and then really being the best parent that we can be, and then just you the depth of your why. It's not just about the money. It's never about the money. It's what you can really, how you can live, and the kind of person that you become on the journey. And so, to me, this activist that a step further, a step sideways or something, and really identifying what we really care about, or not even, it might not be different at all to the deep why that you are already aware of, but actually a part of you being an activist in the world is to actually be making a difference in whatever way that's connected to your why. Being a really great parent, helping people really step into their power, like you were talking about, Ellie, or really helping the animals, just to as a sense of your own motivation that keeps you going. That's not just about you. I guess that's what I'm getting. It gives you a whole different level of motivation when it's not just about you, when you realize your goal is bigger than you and your movement in your business. It really does. And it's not about just being, like we never know the difference that we make. We make balls all over the place that touch so many lives we don't know. But we feel good when we're taking action towards a healthy world, when we're taking action to be part of the solution. It's good. It feels good and it's sustaining. So none of us know the long-term picture of any of these major issues of climate change and fracking and big world issues, but to be part of the solution and to bring that passion, that drive into your business, I think is very, very powerful as a motivator. Two is that when people see your vision, when people care about more than the money, people connect with you. It allows people to come to know that you're a real person, to not just out there trying to be greedy. Your vision is whatever you've identified is so powerful to bring that in to your vision. Let that come through in your business. Let people know what you care about, and that it really does mean people develop that rapport, develop that connection, develop a real sense of trust that you are a real person you're a giver, you're a generous-hearted person, and that doesn't mean that you're not bringing an income for yourself. That's fine to be bringing in an income for yourself, and it's often a real classic touchy zone. Often for activists and musicians and healers, I've come across this in these three areas, is that your passion is something you should just give away. That to be able to be bringing on in any income for what you give is sort of wrong. Integrating your passion with your business, I think, is actually really powerful. Valuing yourself, valuing what you give, and integrating it in a way that you are able to give selflessly, but you're also using a system or using a platform way to also bring in an income for yourself, for your family, and that, no one's a very effective activist without any, when they're stressed financially and stressed with time. You're really different, or you can, of course, you make a difference all the time, but think about really how much more effective you would be. Like, So if you've freed up some time and some income in your own life to be able to give more, give in a different way. So really, because people just keep going, trying to do whatever they can, feeling this urgency to make a difference, and feeling constantly stressed and burnt out at the same time. So a revolution of shifting gears, shifting the way we do things, and being able to be an activist in a different way, in a small way, in a big way, in all whatever way, but coming from that place. Now, one thing I want to say about the blog that we use, the Kalatu blog, is that there's actually 3 blogs with one blogging account. So, you know, I just use one blog at the moment, and I'm sharing all things on that one blog, but people are really niching down. So you might have your business or whatever you're doing, and you want to keep that actually separate from one of the other things that you're really passionate about as an activist or as a project or as a cause or something, and you can actually just share about that. But there's just the possibility to really use the 3 different blogs to niche down what you want to share about. So that's a full thing as well. Really use that to get your message out about your cause or the things that you really think are important. So that's kind of what I've got for you today. Questions or feedback or anything you women want to say in response to that I've shared?
I'm really thinking about is the reason why most people aren't so-called activists. And what an activist is somebody who's passionate and lives their truth. Mm-hmm. Lives who they are. You know, we're always taught to live who somebody else says you should or shouldn't be. So we end up calling that an activist, and I don't even know if we should call it that, okay? Just this is a real person. And here's why people don't do it. Yeah, this is normal, who you are, and to stand up for what you believe in. I don't need to knock other people. I'm just going to stand up for what I believe. But why don't people do it? Here is why, and you just talked about it, okay? Because they're so damn pressed for time, because they're so damn pressed for money. And people say it's not important, and I'm like, really? Then why are you in a job you don't like? Because money is important. We need to, you don't feed your kids unless you have money. You don't get land or live in a house unless you have money. Money is important. And we're so squashed, okay, in those money areas. We hold back, and they think, oh, I don't have time to do that, or I can't, do for that. And it gets so twisted. People would just, like you're talking about, stand up for what they believe in and find ways to make extra income by helping other people. Oh my God, what a concept. Isn't that what it should all be about anyways? You got an hour, I'm going to shut up.
That's great, Ellie. I mean, yeah, thinking about that, people do react to that word activist. There's a whole lot of baggage that people carry around that word. So, some people use the change artist. I kind of like that, but it's just about being yourself. It's just about knowing that you're just standing up for what you deeply care about, and we just don't sort of acknowledge and honor that, and we know that it is making a difference in the world. And that it's really powerful.
Powerful is it's about saying it out, and there are a lot of people who aren't. There are only very small places where they're saying it out loud, and they feel, often it's that they feel they're in a job where this will challenge their reputation with its most powerful gifts.
It's so true, and the sense of relief and settling into yourself. I know that I've found that coming online, and finding my home online. You know, if you've got a blog, if you don't have a blog, really, they say you're kind of homeless online. So, but finding my blog and making that my home and settling into just being myself, expressing myself, sharing the different parts of me, and sharing value in the world, you can just really feel that sense of my voice becoming clearer and stronger, and not feeling like I'm having to change who I am, job or something like that. And I think it's just so powerful what you're saying, is that people actually, it's an alternative to having to a box. You make your own you make your own box here, or no box or whatever it is, but you just are able to be yourself, just be your authentic self. It creates a lot of
I just wanted to drill down a little bit on something that you've both mentioned before, and that is the folks who are activists, healers, coaches, who have this anathema for making money for whatever reason. There's some kind of a disconnect for these folks about making money and doing their work. And yet, as you both said, again, just to emphasize that point, having money kind of work, to have that much more time and energy and financial resources to get their message out there, to get their help out there. So, you know, it's a good thing to have money if you're doing that kind of work, or any kind of work, but specifically that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's a big shift to get around. Sometimes you've got all sorts of beliefs that can get in the way of that. So it's definitely a process, and I've definitely had to go through a lot of internal work around that, because, you know, growing up as an activist, it was seen like anyone with money, you know, was seen like anyone. Marketing was almost like a swear word. It felt like the word marketing was that, you know, people with money are, you know, greedy and destroying the planet. And so, you know, to really examine those self-beliefs and realize that, you know, you are going to be the same person whether you're broke or whether you've got financial resources, and I'm only going to be a more effective activist with the financial resources and the time to give. Same for you. You're gonna be that person of integrity. It's just you're going to be less stressed and more effective. But I think that was just a big thing when I really realized that, of course, I'm not going to change into some greedy person, but I'm me, and I know that. That is my just not going anywhere.